And I think it's crazy that we compare ourselves to animals when we're supposed to be the dominant species, when we are the dominant species, but we compare ourselves to uh, lions and wolves and gorillas. Like we are the ones that have the ability to think for ourselves and be able to uh, build communities and things that we've alluded to.
The alpha male and women wanting a pool boy. Go ahead and play this clip. Damn, which one is it? I think it might be this
We
one.
talk about, and we're going to start from the taxonomy here. Elephant, bull seals, tigers, lions, silverback gorillas. In those cases, would you admit that there is an alpha male, at least in those in biology in those cases?
Yes.
Again, it's okay. So we at least we understand that there is something. So here's where the confusion comes. If I'm having my birthday party, I've noticed whenever I have my birthday party, I get more attention from my friends and from women in general because they see other women paying attention to me. In that moment, contextually, I am alpha. When we leave that and we go into a club to watch Calvin Harris, all the girls now stop paying attention to me. They see Calvin Harris go on stage. He is now contextually alpha. That's how I define alpha male. I don't know if you.
Wait, let me catch that. What was the definition there? Like, what is? And I'm not trying to get you like, what is give me 16 words. Like in general, like what is an alpha male? Actually, I'll give you my perspective. This is what I'm confused on, and then you can talk around this. Okay, my confusion is. So earlier we agreed that I think high value men are people in general that can partition resources.
Yeah.
And in the broadest of senses are people that can partition resources. But it feels like when you guys talk about alpha males, there's this weird kind of like double speak happening where alpha males are, Rollo mentions the pool boy a lot. And we look at the pool boy. So the woman wants to fuck the pool boy while she's dating the poor beta bucks guy. But I feel like the beta bucks guy, more often than not, fits the definition of like a high value man or an alpha male. He's somebody that usually commands a lot of resources, partitions them, is relatively successful, displays a level of competency. Whereas the pool boy would be the beta. He's poor. Yeah. I don't want to say a loser, but if he's like 18, he can be a pool boy. But if he's like a 35-year-old pool boy guy and he's got nothing else going on in life, he's like a loser. But somehow in that situation, it feels like we're calling him like the alpha fucker versus the beta bucker. Like, so what is the alpha?
Generally because, so the whole pool boy like scenario there, it's usually the rich husband who, wife's at home just lounging out of the pool and she's fucking the pool boy. Okay. I mean, every porn movie starts that way, right? But it's primarily because the pool boy represents the peak as far as like alpha fucks is
shout out to everybody that watch porn. He said the pool boys scenario. I don't know nothing about that, but shout out to everybody that watched porn.
Concerned, whereas the husband or the rich guy who has provisioning, protection, and parental investment, he represents long-term security to that woman. Whereas for lack of a better word, the pool boy, right, the guy who's the hot guy that she is aroused by, she still wants to fuck that guy. Although we want to say that, well, the guy who's got all this money, we're going to say, well, relatively speaking, if that guy is rich and he can provide for long-term security, logically, he would be the one to choose. But yet we still see her cheating with the pool boy, right? So what happens is you've got alpha fucks and beta bucks. And so usually what happens is, like, would women love to have both of those together? Yes, of course they would. They would like to have the complete package. You'll hear women say that all the time. But this is just me spitballing here, but like right now, I think in particularly because women have entered into the workforce, because they have educations, because they have basically become the men that they wanted to marry, they don't need men anymore. They want men. Who do they want? They want Brock the bartender. They want the pool boy because he represents the hot, fun sex, the short-term, sexual, genetic benefits guy. They don't need it because they can take care of that shit for themselves.
I guess what I'm not understanding, and this is what I don't know if there's a way to reconcile this, is it feels like.
I can't believe I just found out Destiny was bisexual. I don't really watch his content, but it's kind of wild. When I listen to him much differently now.
Yeah, he likes men.
Well, didn't give it away.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious to me. But,
I never paid attention to him. I just thought it was Sonic or something. I don't know.
I missed it. I missed the whole
thing. He said
Sonic. Like a masochist.
Let me just define really quickly, because everybody's gonna like lose their shit on this. But like whenever we talk about like alpha, beta, whatever, and if you want to get into sociosexual hierarchies, you'd say delta, gamma, whatever. But I only ever use alpha and beta because it just distills these things down to placeholder terms.
Sure.
So I don't think that human males are like silverback gorillas, right, or wolves on the Arctic tundra or something like that. Okay.
Do you understand? The day she got married, the alpha was the guy she married. And
I understand what you're saying, but because you're making this appeal to evolutionary biology, but when we look at alphas in other species, those alphas are never, or very rarely are they the way that we describe alphas in society. When we're talking about alphas,
that's what I'm
there's
saying.
not like the silverback. There is no silverback gorilla who's the alpha who like runs into the forest, comes back, fucks a woman, and then leaves, right? These guys are very pro-social. They're leaders for primates, especially. Not just dominance, though. There's a lot of prestige as well. There's a lot of like mutual grooming that goes on with gorillas, right?
Primates, yes.
Primates, yes. So for instance, like being pro-social, grooming other primates are all very important. Because regardless of how strong or alpha you might think a chimpanzee is, 2 or 3 others are going to kill him if he's an asshole. Nobody's going to want to follow that guy. There is no such thing.
Because beta males form coalitions to take down.
So with the chimp, absolutely. With silverback, it's a little different. He's not as pro-social. He doesn't want any other males around at all. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. I think the difference, like I said before, is we're just using it as a placeholder. Alpha just means more than beta. It doesn't mean anything else.
Okay, sure. And I can accept that, but I would fight you if I was in a fighting mood. That would be a lot different because we're very clearly drawing from the animal kingdom.
Yes.
So when we use those words,
because we're animals,
I understand. But the way that
frame of reference.
Yeah, I understand. But alpha male in the animal kingdom would be like the beta lawyer guy. That would be the alpha male. The guy that is just the pool boy would be the lowest of the low in the animal kingdom. He would probably be excised from the group and he would just die.
In his law firm, he contextually is the alpha male. When the girls have girls' night and go to Thunder from Down Under, he's no longer the alpha male. Contextually, that's going to change.
That's fine, but that context you're talking about, that doesn't exist in the animal kingdom. The alpha is always the alpha. He doesn't change to the alpha depending on the scenario.
Because the silverback gorilla is always the strongest male until he isn't. And that's the reason why it doesn't change. And there's so many other factors that go, and I agree with you, there's so many other factors that go because Homo sapiens are so much more complicated than silverback gorillas. But the thing is, the only reason when we say alpha, it is a placeholder from this point now, and then it changes whenever. It's almost holding alpha is like holding a puff of smoke in your hands. It's there for a few minutes and then it goes away. And so it's almost like getting on a hot streak when you're playing basketball.
Destiny, I'm going to make a book suggestion for you real quick because this is a lot. I think we're both drawing from the same place. There's a really great book. It's called Alpha God by Dr. Hector Garcia. I would highly suggest. You would really like that book.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, there might be. Okay. So then I just want to fixate then on this, that when we say alpha beta, and we're talking about like humans, it really has nothing to do with like alpha beta in terms of animal kingdom stuff.
Yeah, it has to do with more or less.
Sure. Okay. That's fine. So it's the same words, but no drawing, because like an alpha for humans, a lot of the times, for instance, we're focused on like dark triad or like antisocial personality traits, right? Like the alpha, like drug dealer.
Because that's the result in the end for coming back, but that's not always the case. The quarterback of the football team can have nothing.
My apologies for the long clips, but I think it gives a lot of great context. Kind of because every time we talk about alpha, it's like it's the same shit. So I think they just veering off to something else different. But let's go ahead and get a few people to comment on that. What do you guys thoughts about it? Marcus, you've been pretty quiet, brother. This all news to you? Is this something you ever heard of?
Yeah, I heard of the alpha and the beta males. The alpha males tend to get,
Oh, really?
Or whatever, and the beta males are like, the weaker of the males. So yeah, I'm definitely familiar with it.
Would you consider
I would like to
yourself
be an alpha male rather than a beta male,
Would you consider yourself alpha?
I would consider so, I like to be dominant, I don't want to be, somebody that could be, looked as
really?
Or like stepped on or anything like that. So yeah, I definitely like to be, the alpha rather than the beta.
I didn't ask you what you would like to be. I asked, what are you?
Yeah, I told you. I think I'm the alpha, of course, for sure.
Keyword is think. Humble Dad, what are your thoughts about this? I know everybody said they tired of the alpha talk. I've heard conversations. I've heard conversations on the lower side that a lot of people really don't even know how important these labels are when it comes to us as people. And then I heard that a lot of people really don't know what alpha, beta, sigma, gamma, any of those things are.
Delta, omega, it's 6 of them.
Yeah. So like people only speak about what's been commonly talked about in these spaces. But if you really did a deep dive in, a lot of people would be probably surprised on what category they fall under. And I do think these categories are important because we use categories all over the entire world. It's just a part of our life. But I think some people want to get away from it because they may be triggered or they may not want to fall into a certain category. But it is what it is. I think that if you understand it and if you want to gear towards something else, then you could. But you got to get that understanding, because even though you may not be paying attention to it, the people that you're dating, the people that you are around, they may be paying attention to it. And if they put you in a certain category based off the way you act, then you can't be
You
upset.
are what you are. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about it.
One of the statements we talked about last night on the show was like, what is a leader, and how do you know if you're a good leader? It's kind of like the talking points that we talked about last night, and I guess it alludes to being an alpha to a degree. And I would say that every man is going to probably say that they're an alpha, and most women more than likely are going to say that they're alpha women. And to, like you said, most of them don't even know the terminology. And I think it's crazy that we compare ourselves to animals when we're supposed to be the dominant species, when we are the dominant species, but we compare ourselves to lions and wolves and gorillas. Like we are the ones that have the ability to think for ourselves and be able to build communities and things that we've alluded to, right? So why compare ourselves to a lower class of beings, so to speak? Right. So as it relates to being an alpha, I don't think that it really matters in the grand scheme of things. As long as you have an understanding of who you are, then and move in the way of your, we talk about vision and plan of that nature. If you have a vision and you have a plan, then you move in that way and not be so focused on if you're alpha or you're a beta. You know what I'm saying? If you're from the Greek life, then I'm a sigma. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sum of all of them, right? You know what I mean, Shannon? Right? All right. And so I'm not big into it. I'm just playing. But as it relates to being an alpha, I don't think that it matters. I think it's just really a lot of talking points. And so at the end of the day, everybody's going to say that they're alpha. So nobody's going to be listening to say, well, no, I think you are a beta. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take.
He like did it perfectly, like the way Michael Sartain explained it. You know how it's contextual, and like you got to understand, women's emotions flow with the day. So like you need to understand this type of stuff, because a woman isn't like us. Like they're not super logical and okay with just kind of being locked down. Like you can definitely make yourself look like a beta cuck or whatever, and then next thing you know, she's gonna be doing some shit. Like guys need to know this stuff. Like, and the reason why they compare it to animals stuff like that is because like it's just all evolutionary biology. Like we're just trying to like understand things better, so we have to use placeholder terms, just like what Rolo was saying. It's just a placeholder term just so we can like understand things more and like look at context of things better. And like it's not a bad thing. The big problem with this argument they didn't go into, or we didn't talk, or that we didn't see the part in the video, but like there's only, I don't think women cheat. So the thing is, like most women, I think once they're attached, they don't cheat. Like I don't think most women cheat. They only cheat for a couple of reasons. There's the mate swapping strategy. I can't remember what the other one is, but the mate switching strategy is the main one, and that's what I mostly believe in. Rolo believes in the one where she'll sleep with a pool boy just for his genetics, and I don't necessarily believe that. I think that's a very rare case. I think that does happen because we see it all the time, but I think it's rare. And what usually happens is the guy loses his job, or the guy is abusive or something like that, and she's gonna mate swap. She's gonna go and have sex with another guy, and that's going to be her like little in to get her emotions unattached from the other guy, and maybe not stay with that new guy, but at least get her foot out the door to go to a better person.